Have you ever felt manipulated? This is a question many of us might answer yes to, and the culprit behind that feeling is often dark psychology. Dark psychology is a fascinating field that focuses on the art of manipulation, with the aim to control others. It's a subtle and often invisible force, one that weaves itself into everyday interactions and relationships. From the workplace to personal relationships, these manipulation tactics are often so seamlessly integrated into interactions that they can be hard to spot. Tactics like playing the victim, creating false dilemmas, or even employing reverse psychology are just a few examples. Understanding dark psychology isn't about becoming paranoid. It's about being aware, being informed, and being able to protect yourself from manipulation. It's about gaining insight into the darker side of human behavior and learning how to recognize manipulation when it occurs. So let us dive into these dark psychology tricks one by one. Have you ever found yourself doing exactly what someone told you not to do? Curiously enough, this is a basic principle of a dark psychology trick known as reverse psychology. It's a sly method of influence where you suggest the opposite of what you actually want someone to do, hoping they'll go against your suggestion and, in doing so, align with your true intention. Take this everyday example. A parent tells their child not to eat their vegetables. The child, wanting to assert their independence, does the exact opposite and finishes their plate. Or consider a manager who tells their team not to stress about a looming deadline. The team, motivated by a desire to prove their competence, works harder to meet the deadline. Parents, teachers, managers, and many others commonly use reverse psychology. It's a subtle yet powerful form of manipulation that can easily go unnoticed. Beware of this trick the next time someone tells you not to do something. Ever been overwhelmed with affection and attention only to feel controlled later? This may sound like a paradox, but it's actually a common manipulation tactic known as love bombing. Love bombing is like an emotional blitzkrieg, a bombardment of affection, compliments, gifts, and attention, all designed to make the recipient feel special, loved, and cherished. But don't be fooled. The aim is not to build a genuine relationship, but to create an emotional dependency. The love bomber typically starts out as the perfect partner, friend, or family member. They're attentive, caring, and seemingly selfless. They shower you with praise, make grand gestures, and might even declare their love or commitment unusually early. It's a whirlwind romance or friendship that sweeps you off your feet. However, the intent behind this overwhelming affection is not genuine. The love bomber is establishing a power dynamic. By making you feel adored and special, they create a sense of indebtedness. You feel obligated to reciprocate the affection and kindness they've shown. And that's when the manipulation begins. Gradually, the love bomber begins to control you. They may start to isolate you from other relationships, monopolize your time, make you feel guilty for not meeting their expectations, or subtly criticize you. The shift is usually so subtle and gradual that you may not even notice it at first. Remember, this is not about love, it's about control. The love bomber uses affection as a tool to manipulate and control their victim. They have created a situation where the victim feels indebted and dependent on them, making it hard for the victim to challenge or leave the relationship. It's important to recognize these signs and understand that excessive affection, especially early on in a relationship, can sometimes be a red flag. Learn to differentiate between genuine affection and love bombing. Trust your instincts and don't be afraid to set boundaries. After all, true love is about mutual respect and understanding, not control and manipulation. So, if you find yourself in a situation that feels too good to be true, it just might be. Excessive affection can sometimes be a red flag, so stay alert. Ever found yourself doing something because someone you respect told you to? Well, this is where the concepts of persuasion and authority come into play in dark psychology. These tactics can be subtle, yet powerful, and are often used to control others. Persuasion is all about influencing opinions and behaviors. It's a skill that's not inherently bad. In fact, we use persuasion every day in mundane situations. Ever tried to convince your friend to watch a movie you like? That's persuasion. However, when used with dark intentions, it can be a potent tool for manipulation. Manipulators often use persuasive arguments that appeal to emotions or logic. They might present compelling evidence or tug at your heartstrings to sway you. The key is to make you believe that changing your opinion or behavior is your own idea. This makes the manipulation less noticeable, and it's why persuasion can be such an effective dark psychology tactic. Now let's talk about authority. This is when someone uses their power or influence to get others to comply. Authority figures can be anyone from a boss or teacher to a parent or celebrity. We're often inclined to obey them because we respect their position or expertise. However, manipulators can misuse this respect. They may use their authority to make unreasonable demands or push their own agenda. It's important to remember that authority doesn't equate to righteousness. Just because someone is in a position of power doesn't mean they're always right or have your best interests at heart. So, how can we guard against these tactics? It starts with awareness. Understand that persuasion and authority can be used to manipulate. Be critical of persuasive arguments, especially if they seem too good to be true. As for authority, remember to question orders that seem unfair or unreasonable. Remember, just because someone holds authority doesn't mean they always have your best interests at heart. Stay alert, stay informed, and you'll be less susceptible to these dark psychology tricks. Ever felt emotionally blackmailed into doing something? Let's talk about emotional manipulation. It's a tactic that's all too common, and it's the fifth dark psychology trick we're exploring today. Emotional manipulation is a form of deception. It's a strategy that involves exploiting emotions to get the desired behaviors. The manipulator might play the victim, exaggerate facts, or engage in emotional blackmail. It's all about pulling at your heartstrings and getting you to act in a way that benefits them. Let's break this down a bit. Playing the victim is a classic move. The manipulator presents themselves as helpless or wronged, hoping to elicit sympathy or guilt. You might find yourself going out of your way to help them, even if it's inconvenient or detrimental to your own interests. Exaggerating facts is another common strategy. The manipulator might blow a minor issue out of proportion to make you feel guilty or anxious. They create a sense of urgency, pushing you to act quickly without questioning the validity of their claims. And then there's emotional blackmail. This is when the manipulator uses your emotions against you. They might threaten to withdraw their love or friendship unless you comply with their demands. You might hear phrases like, "If you really cared about me, you would," or "I thought we were friends." It's important to remember that these tactics are often subtle. They might not seem manipulative at first glance, but over time they can erode your self-esteem and cloud your judgment. You might find yourself constantly second-guessing your decisions, or feeling guilty for prioritizing your own needs. So how can you protect yourself against emotional manipulation? First, stay aware. Recognize the signs and don't be afraid to question the motives of others. Second, set boundaries. It's okay to say no. And finally, don't let someone else's emotions dictate your actions. You have the right to make decisions based on your own feelings and needs, not someone else's. Stay strong, and don't let someone else's emotions dictate your actions. Ever felt like you were given a choice, but it really wasn't much of a choice at all? That's a classic example of choice restrictions, another dark psychology trick manipulators use to control others. This technique is all about limiting the options available to someone, steering them towards the outcome the manipulator desires. Think of it like a fork in the road, but one path is blocked by a fallen tree, and the other leads straight to where the manipulator wants you to go. That's choice restriction in action. Manipulators also use tactics like withholding information, essentially keeping you in the dark so you're more likely to choose their preferred option. Or they might set up a false dilemma, presenting two unappealing options that make their desired choice seem like the lesser of two evils. So when you're making decisions, always be mindful. Are you choosing from a full range of options, or are your choices being subtly restricted? Always make sure you're making a choice from a full range of options. Ever doubted your own memory or sanity because of someone else's insistence? That's the essence of gaslighting, a nefarious form of psychological manipulation. It's a tactic that's designed to make you question your own reality, your own memories, even your sanity. The manipulator, often subtly, undermines your reality by dismissing your experiences or emotions. Imagine being continuously told your recollections are wrong, your feelings are irrational, or your concerns are baseless. It's like living in a fog of confusion, second-guessing everything. This insidious form of manipulation is often employed by those seeking control, as it erodes self-confidence and creates dependence on the gaslighter. The victim, disoriented and doubting their own perceptions, may increasingly rely on the gaslighter for their version of reality. But remember, everyone has the right to trust their own instincts, memories, and feelings. When your gut tells you something is off, it's essential to listen. Trust your instincts, your memories, and your feelings. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to manipulation. In the vast landscape of human interaction, the shadows cast by dark psychology can seem daunting. We've journeyed through 6 of the most common tactics, reverse psychology, love bombing, persuasion and authority, emotional manipulation, choice restrictions, and gaslighting. Each of these strategies are tools that can be used to control, manipulate, and exploit. But remember, awareness is our first line of defense. Recognizing these tactics when they're used against us is the first step in making ourselves less susceptible. While it's important to be vigilant, it's equally crucial to maintain a balance to avoid falling into a cycle of paranoia. Understanding dark psychology isn't just about spotting the tricks, it's about empowering ourselves to navigate our interactions with confidence. Stay aware, stay strong, and remember, you have the power to say no.